Faerun, a land of magic and intrigue, cruel violence and divine compassion, where millennia of warfare and conquest have shaped dozens of unique cultures. There are rare beings of unnatural abilities that border on the line of deity and the paranormal. Those who share knowledge of these beings have come to refer to them as Espers.
In the moments following this Lieutenant Orc's death, you find yourselves sitting, waiting, anxiously within the largest tent among the camp cluster. The information you have on hand falls to the recently obtained knowledge of the Orc's search for a keystone, the knowledge that this keystone is seemingly fragmented, and the knowledge that your target, Mobhad Death Spear, was last seen heading west into one of the ruined structures. How will you proceed?
So we've at least kept the alarm quiet.
Yes, since we still have the element of surprise, we should move quick.
It might be a good idea to continue with our original plan. Because of your speed, have you go ahead and scout out ahead. You have to be quick, but once we get the information, you can lead us in there.
I think I can do this. Do you want to hang on to the little one then? Because he might be a little bit of a obstacle in my way at some time.
I think I'm okay right now.
Well, he's still going to stick with you guys then. Get off.
Okay, all right. Calm down, all right?
Don't get too far away. Stay close by them and you will stay alive.
Well, she still has my fragment, so I'm not going much anywhere.
That's right.
Swift, you mentioned you were going to go scout?
Yes, so I'm going to slowly stick my head out, get a quick look around. If I think the coast is clear, I would like to making my way towards the ruins where I last saw Moab, but I'd like to start going up and try to get a higher advantage.
Okay, so let's first start with a perception check.
Okay. So my perception is a +4 with 16, so a natural 20.
Getting a quick scan around, it seems relatively quiet. You can still pick up on the sounds of the roving patrols still making their way around. Yes, with your cat ears. But the patrols do seem a little tighter.
Okay.
Now that a large portion of their forces have left. As you're making your way, go ahead and give me a stealth check.
Stealth check. All right. My stealth is a +6. 16.
Swift turns back, look at the groupie, disappears, makes his way out of the tent. At this very moment, Morgana, you have 30 minutes left on your disguise self spell. You dash in and around narrow alleys that make up the ruins. You peek around corners and you're able to perceive a number of, once again, some of these roving patrols, the orcs, the orc riders, still continuing on. Go ahead and make an athletics check.
Athletics. -1 on that, so a 16 in total.
You see a building that has a little bit of a slant to it. You dash up using its angle to your advantage as you run up, and now you're about 30 feet or so above the current floor, the current surface.
Okay.
Hopping in between buildings, this time I want an acrobatics check.
Acrobatics. I got a +6 on that, so boom! 19.
Quickly dashing, hopping from each individual building until you identify a building that looks like it's mostly buried away, probably sank away or something happened at some point ago. It's hard to determine. Space around it is quiet. There's no patrols that are making their way by this building. The building's entrance closely resembles that of a large window than a traditional doorway, hinting once more that much of the city proper lies beneath the surface.
Okay. I'll take another quick scan around, and I will look for an easy egress route for the ones that can't climb and run so fast, and I will slowly make my way back, so that we're less guard activity, easy access ways to get back to that point for the rest of them.
Sure. Give me an investigation check.
Okay. Let's do.
Woohoo!
Just killing these checks, man.
As you're making your way back, you're taking notes of the orcs' patrols and their movement patterns, how they're roving around. It takes you, and you said slowing down, I'd say it takes you 2 minutes, double the time, to get back to the large cluster. For you, merely 3 minutes has passed. It's probably be, so suddenly, the tent flaps fly open as Swift just reappears.
What
So
did
I
you
think I found a couple of nice alleyways for everyone to progress through. I found a nice little entrance for the main building where I think I saw Mobhad go.
Oh, so that means go now, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I want each of you, except for Balkris and Burlau, to make. Sorry, I'm not trying to single you guys out.
So shit, I'm like, okay.
Swift, due to paying attention and keeping track of the routes, you've given everyone else advantage on their stealth check.
Okay.
For Balkris and Burlau, it's flat due to the armor disadvantage.
So 31 for Swift.
Yeah, so it's 9.
5.
I actually got 25. I miscounted that.
Balkris, even with his heavy armored self, got 18. Langi, being invisible, got a 17. So based on averages, you guys did well. Singles, you would have did fucking terribly. Together as a group, you guys make your way down these alleys using Swift's notes. While you are a little louder, of course, with your armor, the rest of the group is able to kind of make sure you maintain, be quiet and they like shh, no, like this. You continue on and you find the building that Swift has seen earlier. Swift brings your attention to the building's entrance, which is essentially a large window instead of a traditional doorway.
I feel like would it make sense for me to go first if I'm still in?
Yeah. You should go first.
Yeah, so I'll enter in first.
And
since I'm still
switch. You stay close.
So Morgana making her way in and Swift keeping a little bit of distance.
And I tell Burlau before we disappear, keep out for any unusual sounds for,
Morgana, still in your orc form, about 20 minutes away from reverting. Passing through the entryway, you enter into a small room with a low ceiling, curved walls, and a foundation that slopes left. There is a solitary door that leads down a darkened hallway that seemingly splits to the left and to the right.
I think I'm gonna go left. Because nobody likes people who go right.
Odd logic, but you continue down the darkened hallway, and when you start making your way left, continuing a few meters from the junction, the path suddenly descends down a flight of stairs. The descent is difficult given the age foundation, though you figure you could navigate it pretty easily if you're careful.
As I see her go down the hallway and check out the stairs, I'll kind of look around real quick and then motion them over.
Right.
Okay, so in that case, the three of you, Balkris, Langi, and yourself, make your way through the window, and then now you're seeing the darkened pathway, and then going a little further, you see Morgana's orcish form is making her way left. You guys are starting to descend down. Descending down the warped path, you enter into what looks like a foyer. The space is wide, with high ceilings reaching up 20 feet. There are 6 mostly intact pillars that run the length of the space. Looking upon them, you get a nervous chill, though they appear stable enough. The space is dark, but each of you have dark vision, so you're still able to make out the features in the darkness. Mm-hmm. Directly ahead, you see there is a door closed. To the right, you see there are 2 doors, and along the left, there is 1 door.
Well, let's just keep going left, why don't we?
As you're proceeding into the space, you pick up on the sound of heavy footfalls echoing through the space. Appearing from behind one of the pillars is another one of those large, gray furred monstrosities. Its keen, yellow eyes seem to pierce the surrounding darkness. You watch as they dart, scanning around the room, and then suddenly shift toward your group.
I'm going to use my thaumaturgy, kind of throw my voice a few feet behind him, as if it's one of his cohorts or whatever, just to gain his attention, to say something.
Give me a deception check.
4.
It doesn't even look in that direction.
I'm going to quickly make some distance from the group if I can and go into patient defense.
You dash away from the group, get some separation.
I'm actually gonna go up to it, try to convince that something major is happening up top.
They both get down and they get really low and look at each other. They look back at you.
Who brought you down here? It does not make sense.
The other one,
I didn't hear anything.
give me a deception check.
Nice.
Natural 20. What?
Natural 20. So now it comes down.
Now it comes out.
Now it comes down to the actual stat. So, what is your charisma?
5.
And shit.
She seems serious enough. Fine. You go check it out. I'll stay here and look after Mobhad.
One takes off. Passes right by you.
Who are your friends? They are not orcs.
Oh, I found these guys. They were up to no good.
Why are they not in chains?
Because I'm just that good. They listen to me.
I definitely need another deception.
I told them to follow me because I knew they were up to some trouble.
It believes the shit out of you. So he goes back into patrolling. He's making his way in and around the pillars. What are you guys doing?
I say let's keep going left.
You're in charge because you got it like that.
Opening the door on the left, you come into what looks something like a barracks. It's a long room with 8 worn beds stacked against the far wall. There are a number of small chests in the space, but many of them look like they've been busted open. But you do see there are 2 that are intact.
Well, it definitely looks like someone's been staying here. It's just a matter of figuring out who and why.
Swiftfoot would like to see what the other 2 boxes over there might be holding. Yes.
If you want to go ahead and check that, give me a thieves' tool check.
I rolled an 8. I think it's just a +4, so 12 in total.
You go ahead and you try to mess the lock with your pick, and your pick breaks.
I guess I'm gonna have to do this old school.
Start working on the other one. Ooh, there you go. 14.
This time, just using your claw, putting it in there, and then you hear a sudden, as it clicks and
There
comes
she
open.
is.
Opening up the box, you find an arrow and a pearl. And you still have the other chest.
I mean, I can try to break it.
How would you like to try to force it open?
I should still have my crowbar. I could try to
There you go.
Okay, go
try
ahead.
to just kind of. That was 20.
We got some weighted dice in here. Come on.
Pull one from your pack, just spin the crowbar in hand, you slam it right down and find that leverage, you pop it. You guys find a shield that seems to emanate some kind of magical essence. You find a short bow. You find 50 feet of hempen rope, and you find another arrow.
Well, now we have a bow to go with these arrows.
If you don't mind.
Oh, you're still here? Okay, good. I thought we lost you.
No, I'm quite still here. I'm quite unarmed, and I would not mind to have the short bow if you're not going to do anything with it.
How do we know you're not going to shoot us with it?
As time goes on, the option does seem tempting, but I essentially know my place.
At this point, it's better to have an extra hand on the field.
Fine. We can get the little guy.
So Langy now has a short bow with 2 arrows. He is a threat.
Balkris, can you perhaps use this?
Possibly. I'm more of a two-handed type and crossbow if necessary, but sure. I'll hold on to this for the time being.
Always better to have added defense.
I agree.
That's something my master always taught me. Always have a defense.
Your master? Oh, I always thought you were self-taught. You Espers seem to be really good at just having these abilities. I thought it was a training thing.
Well, in fact, these barracks look like an old seminary I used to stay in.
I'm sorry I didn't make a better attempt to get to know you, but I think I've been focused on our task at hand. Speaking of which,
Can I investigate to see if there's anything left behind by someone that we could use?
give me an investigation check.
18.
You start digging through personal effects, looking underneath like one of the mattresses. You find there are some incredibly aged parchments. Some look like love letters going back home. Other ones look like they're personal diaries. There's one particular small book you do find. The last journal entry talks about the final days of the Netheril Empire. Karse's folly will be our empire's entire downfall. Without the aid of magic to further assist us, we will be erased from history.
See, this is why you don't leave anything unturned. No stone unturned for me.
Just put in the corner chasing the moth. What?
May I see that book for a minute?
Sure, Billy, here you go.
Can I possibly do, even though I'm truly at a disadvantage, a history check to see if I can figure out what this book is talking about exactly?
Of course, by all means.
Okay, so 9.
This is what I can give you. There's some stuff that's a little bit of common knowledge. Netheril was an empire that utilized magic to spread far across the land of Faerûn. They built floating cities. They followed their leader, who was a very powerful human wizard, possibly the most powerful wizard in all of history. He devised a plan to steal power from the gods, but based on your history check, you're not able to pick up more on how exactly he was able to facilitate that. Shortly after, the spell plague happened, where there was no magic for some time. Without magic, the floating cities collapsed and fell from the sky, essentially erasing their civilization overnight.
If it's okay with you, I'm going to hold on to this book.
Sure.
I think I might be able to get something out of it. I don't know what yet, but I think I really need to hold on to this.
If it doesn't have someone's identity information in it, then it's not much use to me.
Why would you need someone's identity or information?
So where are we going now?
Should we check out those other rooms, or should we proceed straight ahead?
So go one by one.
Might be able to find something.
Or who we're looking for. Either way, it's a good thing, yes?
So I would like to ask the creature guy see if I can get out of him where
Mobhad?
Mobhad is. Thank you.
You go ahead and make your way out of the space, and you still see him patrolling. He gives you a little bit of side eye. He doesn't. You get the idea. You get the sense he doesn't like you very much, but
Nobody does.
He can't really place his anger.
Something more you want to bump me with?
So just curious, since you seem to be knowing where Mobhad is and guarding him, is he back this way? I had a question to ask him.
Doesn't want to be bothered.
And it's at that moment the time runs out on your illusion.
Okay.
He begins snarling, and you can see his fur, his hair standing on end.
What is this?
Hey guys, could use a hand here. So, how's it going?
So you use your action to go ahead and you essentially call for help. So he's going to go ahead and use his quick action to essentially try to take a bite out of you. 19 plus 5, 24. I believe that hits you.
Yeah, a little bit.
He bites into you. You take 10 piercing damage, and I need you to make a strength saving throw.
Oh, good. 4.
As he bites into you, covering most of your midsection, he twists and throws your body down to the ground. You are now considered prone. I want everybody to roll for initiative. Going down the line. Swift.
19.
7.
17.
This is highest initiative yet.
I know, right? I keep rolling like 3 or something.
Swift, as you were going around playing with webbing in the space, you suddenly hear Morgana cry out. What are you doing? What's your intent?
Spear in both hands. I'm going to close the distance to the creature and...
So you dash 30 feet toward the door. Looking outside, you see Morgana is currently prone with this creature biting into her. You dash the additional 10 feet just to get to her. Go ahead and make the attack roll.
Woo! I got an 11.
It adjusts just enough as it grazes the top of its body, but it seemingly feels no damage, doesn't react in any kind of way. So with Lange's little feet, well, he only able to get 25 feet. He has to burn up. He uses a dash to get into the fray. Burlisle, you are in that space, essentially kind of your nose deep in that book, and you close it once you hear Morgana cry out for help, and then suddenly, shortly after, you hear a cry of pain. What are you doing?
How far exactly from them, obviously, to be able to see them, am I?
20 feet from the door, and then that's another 10 feet from the door where they are.
I'll move about 25 feet, so I'm just outside. I just passed the doorway.
Got it.
I see them. I'm gonna reach out and use my chill touch on the creature. 3 plus 8. Obviously, I know that's not gonna hit.
Yep. As the hands are coming up, the creature drags Morgana out of the way, and as the special hands start coming up, trying to grasp at it, but get nothing. Morgana, you are currently prone. This creature biting into you. You're on the ground. What are you doing?
He's screaming. I am trying to take my dagger and at least hit it to break free.
In that case, go ahead and make your attack roll with advantage because Swift is nearby and he's essentially a threat as well.
14.
Go ahead and roll your attack for your dagger plus your sneak attack damage.
And then 14.
14.
Oh, 15.
As you go ahead and you stab into one of the arteries by its neck, and as you pull and pierce into there, burying it into its fur, this brackish darkened blood is starting to spill down your forearm.
At that point, I'd like to try to get away.
Alright, so use your bonus action, disengage, and because you're getting it from prone, you lose half your movement, but it's just enough where you can probably get about, I'd say, 30 feet away from it.
I would like to be behind one of the pillars I'm closest to.
Okay, so dashing away, you make your way behind one of the pillars, gripping at your sides. Now you have these teeth marks piercing into your leather armor. Next is the creature who, like you can see, has reacted pretty badly from that attack. Instead of chasing after Morgana, immediately snaps at you, Swift. Natural 1. As it goes ahead and bites in your direction, you bring your spear and you swat it away. Next is Balkris, who's going to go ahead and charge into the room. He's just going to make the 30 feet to the door, and he's going to attack with his crossbow, his heavy crossbow. Natural 20. As he appears from the doorway, pulls out the crossbow, loads that bow, and Balkris deals 16 damage. Oh, yeah, that does it. So, he makes his way to the space, and he fires that natural 20 at deep damage. As it goes to bite at you, and you swat it away, a bolt comes in from the opposite side, and the other side of the neck, stabs in. You can see him just trying to reach at it, grab at it, but of course, no opposable thumbs, so can't get a grip as he slowly, you guys just taught him with your opposable thumbs, as he begins bleeding out. Not even to make a sound. All it's just a gurgled whimper. As he just dies there on the stone floor.
Excellent.
Alright. So what's the next move here? I think we've made a little bit of noise.
We need to hurry on up right now before that other one gets back.
Since we confirmed that Moed's here, I definitely think we should find him.
Should we hide this body first before that other ward comes back?
Swiftfoot likes this idea, yes.
So that way he doesn't immediately start looking for us.
And any signs of a kind of a struggle as well.
Balkris, can I borrow your assistance, please?
Of course. Alright. So let's say for the sake of brevity, you're able to go ahead and you're able to, push around some dirt, cover up the blood best you can. With you and Balkris, pretty decent strength. You're able to hide the body. The only room you know right now is the barracks, so you place the body in the barracks.
Should we continue our formation? Morgana in first and me close.
I don't look like an orc anymore. Why am I going first?
Fine, I'll go first.
I'll start checking the closest secondary door.
So there's the 2 doors that are on the right, and there's the door that's straight ahead.
Just for investigation's sake, I say we go in the 2 doors on the right.
Yeah, so whatever's closest one to me.
Checking the first door on the right, it looks like it once was a small office. There's a very aged and ransacked desk, couch, and table. There's a thick layer of dust that essentially coats every inch of this room, aside from a few relatively recently placed footsteps. But other than that, it's a dark space. Looks like no one's been in here in some time.
Do a quick investigation to look through the drawers, see if there's anything of use or of knowledge.
Okay.
+2, so 13.
13, checking out the space. Nothing essentially stands out to you.
Okay.
I'll check the other one.
Okay. You open up the space, and it's relatively similar. There looks to be what would have been a well-maintained bed a long time ago, but like everything else in this space, it's covered in a very thick layer of dust.
Is there another desk or anything like that that I can, or a chest or something?
You see there's like a nightstand. There are the remains of what looks like a candle that burned out a long time ago, and the wax is spilled over and long dripped onto the floor.
Probably some sort of captain's quarters.
That's what it seems like. Is there any letters, book? Sorry. I'll
Yeah, give me an investigation check.
Yeah.
Hate me. You find a vial. It looks very aged. It has like some murky contents that are floating around the bottom, some sediment around the bottom. But you do recognize the look of it. This is a potion of healing.
Nice. All right, Morgana, here, drink some of this. I know it looks old, but I know exactly what it is. It'll help you out.
Aw, Burley, I knew you cared about me.
Okay, let's not get out of hand.
Thanks, Cupcake.
Hold on to that. Everyone, move in close.
Are you about to sing Earth
Just-
Fire and Kumbaya it?
Just calm down. Kalimvor, if you see fit to not have us at your gates just yet, I pray that you give us the strength to continue forward until you do find us ready to be able to make our way through your gates and in through the afterlife.
After he finishes this little chant, there's this white radiant light that engulfs all of you, and the warmth of the energy starts sealing up your wounds. Morgana, you immediately start feeling better as those teeth marks are immediately begin closing up.
Oh, it's all tingly.
So all you have left is the door that leads directly ahead.
Continue on.
Okay, you guys open up the door and
Stealthily.
Oh, now you're telling me. So, in that case, everyone give me a stealth check. Langi, being invisible, got 19. Balkris got a 2.
So far got 25.
16.
11.
You guys open up the door to this final room, and there's a small alcove, but there's also a set of stairs that descend further down.
I'll wave them on as I start going down the stairs.
What's the marching order?
Swiftfoot first.
Then I'm behind Swiftfoot.
Who's behind Morgana?
Okay, then I'll be behind Morgana.
Okay. Balkris will be right next to you for a while. Keeping a hand to the wall, you slowly proceed down a set of spiraling stairs and into a lengthy, lit hallway. There is a door along both the left and right wall, though the path itself reaches a dead end. Burlow, you pick up on the sound of muffled voices talking down the hall.
Slow down, I hear something. There's some speaking ahead. There's obviously people up there.
Swift, listening to the voices though, give me an intelligence check, a flat intelligence check.
16.
Swift, you recognize one of the voices.
As soon as he realizes which voice it belongs to, he will get, agitatingly against the wall, trying to make himself smaller than he normally would. Just like,
Guys, Swiftfoot doesn't want to be here anymore.
It's Tammy too. I'm sorry, the door was open.
Listening in. The two voices. One is deep and guttural, a common trait among orc kind. The second voice is clear, light, it's pleasant, though each word is seemingly spoken with intent.
You asked the impossible. The slaves continue to dig and find nothing.
Mobhad, you're simply lacking in motivation. Perhaps a reminder will...
No fine keystone. But little known thing finds something.
You suddenly hear Langi pick her up. There's a third voice.
Well, would you look at that? He suddenly remembers something.
Not thinking important.
Not really thinking at all, but please, continue.
Little known thing, find piece of keystone. Think it will lead to others.
Now, that is something. Unfortunately, things have changed. Mobhad, I want you to be ready to move the slaves in 2 days. There are talks the Silver Knights are moving in to assassinate you. This will eventually lead them here and uncover things far too soon.
Need more time. You promised we could keep any treasure we found, but we find nothing.
It seems as though you forgot who gave you newfound power.
We can just as easily replace you with another ego brute willing to command. But I don't want to believe that this will become a problem. Silence for a few moments. Good. And just to ensure things will move along as planned, Gliss will remain here. A word of caution. While she may not speak much, she is neither patient or forgiving. You would be wise not to anger her. We shall return in 2 days with details of the next location.
There's another brief moment of silence, followed by a sudden loud gust, almost as if the air beyond the door just collapsed all at once. The light underneath the door simultaneously flashes purple, then returns to normal.
So I'm assuming that I no longer hear that person's voice.
It seems like there's no talking at all at this point.
At this point, noticing how shaken up Swift is, I just ask, do you recognize one of those voices?
The female. She is the one that put me in that hole.
Who is she?
We don't have time to talk about this. Our target could very well be in front of us.
Well, we need to know what we're going up against. Mobhad is our target, but it sounds like something's bigger than him.
Waiting to find out what they are is not going to do us any good. We can sit here and wait, or we can go and attack him right now.
How about we investigate?
Yeah, I'd like to move to one door and see if I can hear anything on the side of. I'll take the left one.
Yeah.
Like I want to get next to the door and be like, cut it if I had one.
All right. You go to the right. You go to the door that's on the right.
Okay.
Give me an investigation check.
So 7.
So Swift just come to the door. You hear him trying to listen to the one on the right, but he doesn't hear anything.
Well, shall we?
But don't forget, he's not alone in there anymore. We don't know anything about this other person that's in there.
At this point, I guess we don't have a choice.
All right, guns blazing it is, guys.
Yeah,
Who's coming in first then?
Is the door in front of me locked?
You go in and you touch the door, and it is unlocked.
My intent is to crack it open to get an eye in the room, just barely.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a stealth check.
Woohoo, 12.
How do you proceed? So you crack the door open a little bit.
Yeah, just to get a line of sight in the room and just kind of scan around to see if I can actually see anybody standing there.
Okay. You open up the door, peering in. You see nobody. All you see is just a stone wall. You can see there's a torch or two in the room that splash light in that area.
Okay, let's do this!
Yeah.
Before you can even react, suddenly you hear something like this, almost like this crystalline cracking, as this dagger of ice crashes through the door. Oh, that does miss. So this dagger of ice crashes through the door, and you react just enough as it comes through the wood and passes right overhead. It's at that instant it suddenly explodes. Swift and Morgana, I want you guys to both make dexterity saving throws.
A natural 20.
4.
This thing suddenly shatters and separates. The small little ice crystals embed themselves into your body. You take 6 cold damage. Swift, you're able to just move out of the way and avoid that second strike as it comes out of nowhere. Now there's this large fist-sized hole through the door.
Who's out there?
You can hear Mobhad beckon. At this time, everyone roll for initiative.